Let's go through the entire Gospel of Mark together. All right, everyone, now we're going to start digging into Mark chapter 9. Now, as a reminder, a few things to remember. One, a lot through Mark, we have this messianic secret, and that is where the demons, the unclean spirits, they proclaim Jesus is the Son of God, but the disciples, the Pharisees, they don't always get things. They're a little bit confused. They're a little bit hard-hearted. And the other thing that's happening around chapter 9 is we do get a lot of conversations about what is about to happen to Jesus, what is about to happen to the Son of Man, Christ, and his disciples not fully understanding it yet. So let's begin to dig in. And he said to them, "Truly I say to you, there are some standing here who will not taste death until they see the kingdom of God after it has come with power." Now, this is one of the things that I think is really interesting, because right before this, right at the end of chapter 8, he's talking about, for what can a man give in return for his soul? For whoever is ashamed of me and of my words in this adulterous and sinful generation, of him will the Son of Man also be ashamed when he comes into the glory of his Father with the holy angels. And then chapter 9 starts, and he said to them, "Truly I say to you, there are some standing here who will not taste death until they see the kingdom of God after it has come with power." Remember, the Bible, when this was written, there were no chapter markers, there were no verses. Those were put in much later. Most of the time they make sense, but not all the time. And I would say this is probably one of the ones where it's an interesting place to have a chapter marker, but let's continue. "And after 6 days, Jesus took with him Peter and James and John and led them up a high mountain by themselves. And he was transfigured before them. And his clothes became radiant, intensely white, and no one on earth could bleach them. And there appeared to them Elijah and Moses, and they were talking with Jesus. And Peter said to Jesus, 'Rabbi, it is good that we are here. Let us make 3 tents, one for you and one for Moses and one for Elijah.' For he did not know what to say, for they were terrified. And a cloud overshadowed them, and a voice came out of the cloud, 'This is my beloved Son, listen to him.' And suddenly, looking around, they no longer saw anyone with them but Jesus only. And as they were coming down the mountain, he charged them to tell them no one what they had seen until the Son of Man had risen from the dead. So they kept the matter to themselves, questioning what this rising from the dead might mean. And they asked him, 'Why do the scribes say that first Elijah must come?' And then he said to them, 'Elijah does come first to restore all things. And how it is written of the Son of Man that he should suffer many things and be treated with contempt? But I tell you that Elijah has come, and they did to him whatever they pleased, as it is written of him.'" And I'm going to stop here. We're not done with this chapter yet. But I think this is huge, because when we're talking about the fact that the voice came out of the cloud, "This is my beloved Son, listen to him," and only Jesus is standing there. This is one of those proclamations that Jesus, the Christ, he's the Son of God. But only a couple of verses later, it says, "Tell no one what they had seen until the Son of Man had risen from the dead." And that's going into this messianic secret. Because remember, when this book is written, when Mark is written, somewhere around 67 to 70, they are proclaiming this from the tops of the churches. They are making sure everyone knows. They are dying for it because it's such in a persecution state. But what Mark does so beautifully is set up this thing that, listen, when Jesus was here, not everyone knew who he was. This was not something being proclaimed, but now he has risen, and as he has told us, we are now sharing that good news. Now let's keep reading. "And when they came to the disciples, they saw a great crowd around them, and scribes arguing with them. And immediately all the crowd, when they saw him, were greatly amazed and ran up to him and greeted him. And he asked them, 'What are you arguing about with them?' And someone from the crowd answered him, 'Teacher, I brought my son to you, for he has a spirit that makes him mute. And whenever it seizes him, it throws him down, and he foams and grinds his teeth and becomes rigid. So I asked your disciples to cast it out, and they were not able. And he answered them, O faithless generation, how long am I to be with you? How long am I to bear with you? Bring him to me. And they brought the boy to him. And when the spirit saw him, immediately it convulsed the boy, and he fell on the ground and rolled about, foaming at the mouth. And Jesus asked his father, How long has this been happening to him? And he said, From childhood, and it often cast him into fire and into water to destroy him. But if you can do anything, have compassion on us and help us. And Jesus said to him, If you can, all things are possible for the one who believes. Immediately the father of the child cried out and said, I believe. Help my unbelief. And when Jesus saw that a crowd came running together, he rebuked the unclean spirit, saying to it, You mute and deaf spirit, I command you, come out of him and never enter him again. And after crying out and convulsing him terribly, it came out, and the boy was like a corpse, so that most of them said, He is dead. But Jesus took him by the hand and lifted him up, and he arose. And when he had entered the house, his disciples asked him privately, Why could we not cast it out? And he said to them, This kind cannot be driven out by anything but prayer. Now I've heard this verse so many times in churches, but I just want to pull it out. I believe, help my unbelief. That's what the Father is saying to Jesus. He believes, he knows Jesus can do this, but he wants help with the part of him that doesn't believe. And I think that's a powerful thing that everyone in this day and age can connect to and resonate with. There are lots of things we believe in, but maybe we don't really believe it. Because when you really believe something, you live for it, you die for it, you go after it, and you don't stop. So sometimes we should just be asking, how can God help us with our unbelief? Now let's keep going. They went on from there and passed through Galilee. And he did not want anyone to know, for he was teaching his disciples, saying to them, The Son of Man is going to be delivered into the hands of men, and they will kill him. And when he is killed, after 3 days, he will rise. But they did not understand the sayings and were afraid to ask him. Now remember, we're in chapter 9, but just right before that, in chapter 8, he began to teach them that the Son of Man must suffer many things, be rejected by the elders and the chief priests and scribes, and be killed and rise 3 days after. And that's when Peter pulls him aside and rebukes him. So this is only a chapter later. Christ is reminding them again. He's really trying to prepare them for what is to come. And once again, as we talked about this messianic secret, the disciples are set up in this story, in this narrative, in this book, as people who do not understand. Let's keep going. And they came to Capernaum, and when he was in the house, he asked them, What were you discussing on the way? But they kept silent, for on the way they argued with one another about who was the greatest. Isn't that so interesting? He literally just said, Hey, I'm going to die. I'm going to be killed. I'm going to rise. They don't understand. And on the walk home, they're talking about, Hey, which one of us is the greatest? And he sat down and called the 12 and said to them, If anyone would be first, he must be last of all and servant of all. And he took a child and put him in the midst of them, and taking him in his arms, he said to them, Whoever receives one such child in my name receives me, and whoever receives me receives not me, but him who sent me. John said to him, Teacher, we saw someone casting out demons in your name, and we tried to stop him, because he was not following us. But Jesus said, Do not stop him. For no one who does a mighty work in my name will be able soon afterward to speak evil of me. For the one who is not against us is for us. For truly I say to you, whoever gives you a cup of water to drink because you belong to Christ will by no means lose his reward. And I think that's so powerful because I want to talk about something. We live in an age, in a world where we have so many different versions of religion, of Christianity, Catholicism, non-denominational, Baptist, Pentecostal. And sometimes we end up going at each other, trying to prove which one of our religion is right, which is in essence similar to what the disciples are saying of which one of us is the greatest. And what does it say here? For the one who is not against us is for us. And I truly say to you, whoever gives you a cup of water to drink because you belong to Christ will by no means lose his reward. We should be giving each other cups to drink. It doesn't matter which sect we're in. We are here for Christ. We are here for God. We should be lifting each other up and not breaking each other down. Let's keep reading. Whoever causes one of these little ones who believes in me to sin, it would be better for him if a great millstone were hung around. Whoever causes one of these little ones who believes in me to sin, it would be better for him if a great millstone were hung around his neck and he was thrown into the sea. And if your hand causes you to sin, cut it off. It is better for you to enter life crippled than with 2 hands to go to hell, to the unquenchable fire. And if your foot causes you to sin, cut it off. It's better for you to enter life lame than with 2 feet to be thrown in hell. And if your eye causes you to sin, tear it out. It is better for you to enter the kingdom of God with 1 eye than with 2 eyes to be thrown into hell, where their worms do not die and the fire is not quenched. For everyone will be salted with fire. Salt is good, but if the salt has lost its saltiness, how will you make it salty again? Have salt in yourselves and be at peace with one another. You know, it's interesting because you can pull out any one of those verses in that last section and it sounds intense. But when you read that entire thing, what is it talking about? It's talking about resisting sin. It's talking about, and this is one of the beautiful things I think that Genesis does so well. When you look at Cain and Abel and what God is telling Cain, he's telling him, resist sin, because sin is lurking, it's crouching, it's waiting for you to devour you. And again, here we are years later, and look at what it's talking about here. Don't cause a little one to sin. If there's something that's getting in your way, whether it's your eye, your hand, your leg, whatever, it's making a drastic example, but it's saying whatever it is that's causing you to sin, do away with it. And then it talks about have salt in yourselves and be at peace with one another. Next up, we're going to read chapter 10.